The Heat finally won yesterday. Yes, they snapped their 7-game win streak against the Sacramento Kings yesterday, 115 to 106. Jimmy Butler led the way with 34 points. Josh Richardson finally was clutch. He finally did decent off the bench. He actually did great off the bench. 24 points, 6 threes. That shooting we needed off the bench. That spark we needed off the bench. Kevin Love finally hit those shots. Those shots from the three that are much needed. He only hit 2 of them, but he was 2 for 3. He didn't take as many. He was looking to pass the ball, and he hit those shots. The team was playing with a different energy that was not seen in the last 5 games. The team reportedly had a team meeting before they played the Kings, which I knew after that, a guaranteed victory. In the meeting, they ripped each other and aired everything out. The Heat thrive off of accountability. That's what Jimmy Butler's here. Those Sixers meetings that they had meant nothing. In Miami, they mean something. Coach Spo, they mean something. That's the reason we won. The Heat thrive off accountability. We knew that was a guaranteed win after that. Hopefully that will lead to a winning streak to get those wins that we need back and stop all the Jimmy Butler trade rumors. Those things are stupid. If Pat Riley's not willing to trade Tyler Hero, does Kendrick Perkins really think we'll trade Jimmy? But when the Heat want to make a deep run in the playoffs, Kendrick Perkins will act like nothing happened, and those goons from Dade County are the next underdogs, the next big things. They're going to win the championship. I need him to do me a favor. I need him to shut the fuck up. Anyways, these performances from Jimmy need to be freaking, especially after snapping the losing streak, to make sure this doesn't happen again. Because I'm not trying to have another losing streak. And if we have losing streaks, we're not making the playoffs. We're going to be in the play-in again. No one wants to be in the play. No one wants to be stressed out like we were against the Bulls. Bam and Tyler need to step up. I need to be Jimmy's much-needed help. Jimmy's been needing help, and they need to step up. They didn't have a good game yesterday. Jimmy had a great game. Josh Richardson stepped up. We need them to step up in order to continue winning games. Or else we're going to find ourselves right back in the 7-game losing streak like we were. And another team meeting will need to be called. And that's not what we want frequently. All right, let's get to our Cbb game of the day, which is also our dog of the day. This game might be down to a pick'em by the time you see this, but Wisconsin is the dog of the day against the home favorite, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska relies on their 3. And when that goes wrong, you see what happened against Maryland, where Maryland shot lights out, and Nebraska could have hit nothing, and they lost by 20. While Nebraska is 13-1 at home, despite the Cornhuskers' home record, and many believe they are able to run Wisconsin off the 3-point line, Wisconsin will get the dub. The Honey Badgers are a better shooting team and a better team overall. Just let them shoot, and they'll show why they're ranked number 6. Wisconsin won 4 of the last 5, dropping their only loss out of the 5 to Penn State. It's a Big Ten matchup. Anything can happen. Wisconsin, dog of the day. We're going to get this dub. Trust me. Now the NFL. More coaching carousel chaos. The Commanders hired former Cowboys defensive coordinator, former Falcons head coach Dan Quinn. I think a defensive coach is the right hire. They have Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, one of the best offensive coordinator in the league. Coordinator for the Chiefs, Mahomes, success, Super Bowls, all that matters. He didn't have a good performance in the playoffs, Dan Quinn. But you can't blame the defense for that loss. I mean, Prescott, turnover machine that game. Offense wasn't clicking. The whole team wasn't clicking. I think it was a coaching problem. But we're talking about Dan Quinn, who finally got a job again. Dan Quinn has taken the team to the Super Bowl, and the Falcons, they almost won 28-3. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Magic. You know how that went. And I think he might have learned a lot during his last 3 years as a coordinator. Should be a good hire. Now see how he transforms his defense and what he does with Sam Howell. Another hire. The Seahawks also hired a defensive head coach on Wednesday. Who, actually, the Seahawks were favored to hire Dan Quinn, but instead they went with the Ravens' former defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald. Now that was a hire. Now the youngest head coach in the league, what he did with the Baltimore defense was incredible. Only allowing 26 touchdowns and 16 points a game this season, the regular season. And he only held the Chiefs to 17. Now, a lot of teams are holding the Chiefs in the playoffs. But he did a good job. It was the offense's fault that they lost. And he's been doing great throughout the whole playoffs. Texans put up 40 on the Browns. He held them to what, like 17, maybe 10? Oh, I forgot. He has no head coach experience, but he's probably the best coordinator available defensively. And I think that was an outstanding hire. Now, where does this lead Bill Belichick? It's obvious, without a head coaching job. There's rumors sparked by Adam Schefter, though, that says he could be the new head coach for the Chiefs if Andy Reid retires after winning the Super Bowl. I do see Andy Reid possibly retiring off with his Super Bowl. I mean, he's not going to have many more opportunities. Of course he will, I think. Mahomes is something different. But I do think he's not going to retire. But if he does, I could see them replacing him with Bill Belichick. Now, do I think that's the right decision? Of course not. If I'm the Chiefs and Andy Reid's retiring after this season, you get a young head coach appointed by Andy Reid himself. I mean, Bill Belichick has a max 3 years before he retires. Excuse me. 3 years before he retires. Then you have to start all over again with Mahomes. Bill Belichick will probably automatically put you in the Super Bowl again. But this young head coach, if he's a good young head coach, he gets you the best chance at another potential dynasty. Dynasties don't last 3 years. You think about it, bringing Bill Belichick, you probably have to get situated in year 1, year 2, year 3, you're successful. But if you bring in a younger head coach after Andy Reid retires, and he's there with Mahomes for the rest of his career, you don't want to go through 3 head coaches in Mahomes' career. That's too much for a younger quarterback. You bring in the younger head coach, and he gets his stuff together. You have another shot at potential dynasty. There's not many quarterbacks like Mahomes, so I don't see Andy Reid retiring. But that's just hypothetically. Now talking about more defensive coaches in the NFL, Vic Fangio, the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins are without a defense coordinator. Vic Fangio left us high and dry after just 1 season. It's obviously he wasn't liked by some players. Just seeing their reaction after he announced he's leaving, after the Dolphins announced he's leaving. But the Dolphins have been interviewing coaches, including former Chargers coach Brandon Staley, who got fired mid-season. I sure hope it's not him. He sucks. He's a terror to any team he touches except the Rams, which I think he came from. He's terrible. Terrible. That's terrible. He is garbage. Leslie Frazier is another candidate who I think is the best candidate. Former Bills defensive coordinator, maybe the best option. He had success in Buffalo. In 2029, Frazier's defense only allowed 17 points a game, which led the league in least amount of points, obviously. All I hear is insight from Leslie Frazier. Imagine the insight we get into beating Buffalo. Will we finally beat Buffalo? He'll know Josh Allen, his flaws, better than anyone. He'll know the Bills' flaws better than anyone. McDermott's flaws better than anyone. That's all I hear. Mike Vrabel's another possibility, but he's a head coach. I don't see himself taking a step down for less. He's a head coach. He'll get one next season. Bill Belichick, door's always open. Back to the NBA, the Lakers and LeBron James are the talk of the league. The Lakers seem to be struggling. They dropped 2 in a row, and now likely to drop 3 in a row to the Celtics on TNT tonight. LeBron and AD, of course, aren't playing. I said last episode, as long as LeBron is happy, Darvin Ham's job is just fine. But now with LeBron's frustration and saying this in an interview after a loss to the Rockets.
We could, on any given night, beat any team in the NBA. And then on any given night, we get our ass kicked by any team in the NBA.
Darvin Ham seems to be on the hot seat. He is obviously the most fraudulent coach in the league. And he's only there because of LeBron. Bring back D'Angelo Russell and getting Christian Wood are supposed to put the Lakers over this hump. And that's not worked. And his play quality has been in question all season by his players, all season by the fans, all season by NBA fans, NBA analysis. His play quality sucks. Especially if the Lakers aren't successful in the playoffs, another LeBron coach will fall. Even though this is probably the worst one he has had recently, there is not a chance he's there next season. I wouldn't even doubt if he's gone this season. Especially if the Lakers are already going to be on a 3-game losing streak because they're guaranteed to lose tonight. If they go on a losing streak, he's gone. LeBron's not playing. LeBron's the coach. He's going to get fined on another one of those coaches that'll probably get fired in 3 years. He is gone. LeBron might be gone after this season too, how it's going. Lastly, tomorrow, your Miami Heat play the Washington Wizards in Washington. This would and should be a good win to get a little 2-game win streak. Especially with the next 2 being the Clippers and the Magic. A nice little 2-game win streak. The spark is back up. This is a must-win, and we are playing our divisional rivals for the first time this season. We expect to see a big game from Tyler Hero. He averages 20 points against the Wizards. Jimmy last season averaged 15 against the Wizards. Bam averages 14 in his career against the Wizards. Tyler Hero is probably the most successful so far recently against the Wizards. The Wizards have 9 wins. This should be a win for momentum, and I guarantee a Heat win tomorrow. The young guys will step up against a young Wizards team. All we need to do, shut down Kyle Kuzma. He's averaged 24 in his last 5. Kyle Kuzma, man. Remember he was on the Lakers? They never traded him, I guess. All should be good. Let's go Heat. And the Marlins have yet to sign anybody.